is what we call JONAP, which is the Joint National Association. So about this, I am not aware of any internal crisis. Rather, maybe these clusters may go and do their own program, these other clusters, maybe because there's no government integration.
Okay.
Because if the Ministry of Social Welfare are proactive in our programs and activities, I think we may not be able to see this.
But now that there are different clusters, is it that is there like a domesticated policy for each of these clusters, or like when I mean domesticated, like each cluster having the same policy, you know, or
Yes.
it differs from, you know?
No, it's the same policy. Yeah, apart from the visually impaired that do once in a while, they do the White Cane Day. It's an international day, of course. You know, among disability group, there are ones I may say that they are worst. You know, they blind. Okay, like why this? If you go to Lagos today, you see somebody with the cane. The driver will stop for the person to pass. But because this law is not working in Rivers State, they don't care. But ordinarily in overseas, in Lagos State, as the case may be, a blind person can walk freely in the street.
Okay, so away from government and back to society, is there like, you know, like, do you have an outline of barriers that basically people with physical ability face in physical environments, basically, or in institutions as well, that haven't been addressed?
So much. I don't know if there's any physically challenged working in this station. Do you have any?
And there's none that we can recall.
Okay. So if we start from your station, that maybe you may be up to 100 persons working here, you hardly can see physically challenged person. Let me recall my experience.
We've not had one that come to apply anyway. So
Okay.
if we've had anyone that come to apply and they are good enough, they'll definitely get the job.
Okay. No problem. Let me recall my experience when I want to do my industrial training with an NPC.
Yeah.
Moscow Road here in Port Harcourt. They could not accept me. Maybe because those people working there may want people who may do errands for them and do tea and all the rest, you know. So their problem was that this man is physically challenged. What can he do for us? You know, I keep on going until I met somebody that said, meet this person. He's a board member of an NPC. I went to the person, collected his ID card, went to the manager. I was absolved to do my IT. In fact, as at the time I was leaving, I think I have a special recognition till date. Such that they called me and apologized. We are sorry. We are thinking that because you are physically challenged, you will not perform.
So in other words, there are loads of people out there who can perform, and regardless of how the physical challenges that they have, can still perform optimally, but people aren't, which is one of the problems you're citing out now. People just don't give them a chance to see what they can do.
Yes, that's why, in fact, in one of our slogans, we will tell you, don't look at the disability, look at the ability, because there is ability in disability.
Let's go back to government quickly before perhaps wealth takes us back to society again. Looking at this law here, it says that there is established a fund to be known as the River State Persons with Disability Welfare Fund, referred to in this law as the fund, for the purpose of raising money through private and public contributors to finance and enhance the educational, socio-political, health and economic standard of persons with disabilities generally in the state. This fund, is this still accessible?
When the board is not there, there will be no fund.
So I know that we have a school for this for
the handicap school,
the handicap
in
school.
Borokiri.
Yes. How operational is it?
We have begged the government to see what they can do. In fact, it was when we visited the deputy governor and complained. In fact, part of that school was used as NECO office. It was when we had opportunity to meet with Her Excellency Palebo Banigo, and we complained this to her. She now said no, it's bad. They have to ask NECO to leave the place. And if you go to that place, those buildings are dilapidated.
All right. We're still expecting to join us in the studio anytime soon, the chairman and vice chairman of the association, the chairman, Kie Obomanu, Joint National Association of Persons with Disability Chairman, River State Chapter. And we're also expecting the vice chairman, Mr. Adokie Ibolubo, to join us in the studio. Hopefully they come before we run out of time. But let's go to the phone lines and just get a few questions from you and hear what your thoughts are. Hello to the 95.1 FM.
Good afternoon, Mr. Andrew.
Good afternoon. You're welcome.
Good afternoon to your guest in the studio.
Good afternoon.
I want to ask the man yesterday. You know, where someone's right ends, that is where the next person's right started.
Yeah.
I want to ask him, is there anywhere in the law or in the constitution that permits them to be violent, even when maybe their needs are not met? Because I have seen several times when they come to NDDC, you will see
the
them,
protest in NDDC, yeah?
Yes, acting violently, smashing people's car, breaking windscreen. Is it proper for them to be doing it? Even if maybe they have not met to their demand. That's my question. Is there any law permitting them to be violent on the streets?
I think I would even answer that on his behalf. We know that the same law covers everybody in the country, because even people who are able do the same things when they protest and then destroy properties and raid shops and the rest of them, and then you have the police come in to try to restore calm. It's happened a couple of times, and the same thing applies to any Nigerian. As long as you're in the country, same laws apply to you. You can't do such. Hello, Today 95.1 FM.
Yeah, this is Mr. Zion. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, Mr. Zion.
Thank you. The truth is this. The way and manner we treat people with disabilities in this country is totally bad. Totally bad. We relegate these people to the ground as if maybe they are like wishes in our society. We treat them in the same manner, and which is wrong. These are educated people. I have so few of them as my friends. I mean, my friends. Some of them are very brilliant. The NDDC we just mentioned now. NDDC is like even calling them wishes or witchcraft. That is what literally now. Because you cannot have a budget of over 20 billion naira per year to take care of people with disabilities, yet you are doing nothing. Whenever 2 or 3 people come, you give them 5 million and they go, case closed. And when others now heard that, look, 2, 3 people went to NDDC, like the brother in the studio said, of course, people with blindness, their case is different from people with maybe chest pains or polio. They are different splinters, just different issues. The truth is from the federal government, we have failed to take care of these people. So whichever action they take, they are right.
Okay.
NDDC from the Niger Delta region to forfeit over 600 billion naira since its exception, budgeted the amount for people with disabilities to take care of those people. Because the next time these people will go to a bar road again in NGDC office, we cannot guarantee even the peace in that environment. And we that are commuters, our vehicles are at risk. Mr. Zion.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Zion. Let me give one instance. We try to come up with a program suggesting to NDDC as an intervention commission. And we are sons and daughters of Niger Delta. We have the same rights. We now suggest that let them build a skill acquisition center to train members of this special group. Up to now, up to date, nothing has been done. Now, what do you want these people to do? And some of them have families. That is why they go there. Okay, the NDDC, I can remember, is at 2000. Do you know the first time NDDC could be able to gather these people together to just give them little training is this year? How many years today? If you count between 2000 to 2019, is it not 19 years down the line? That is when they will recognize that this group exists in Niger Delta. And it was out of protest. Without protest, they don't have any program.
Well, that seems to cut across every sphere in the country. Everybody has to protest most of the times before you get the attention of the government for anything. Hello, Today 95.1 FM.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
My brother in the studio, I greet you. My name is Sele West. It looks like it's only people who has a physical challenge, either in the hand, leg, that mind the president or the executive of this association. The blind is not being carried on. Because I have not seen a blind person from the blind group that is the president of this association. Why? Thank you.
All right.
That will bring us to do we have discriminations within the group?
There is no discrimination.
I think that's what he will be pointing towards to.
There's no discrimination. You know, like when I was talking, I said even within the disability, you know, some cases are worse than the other persons.
Yeah.
It's not that a blind man cannot, like one of our friends in Lagos is a doctor. It's a doctor. It's also a leader. It depends. You understand me?
Yes.
The vice president who is here in the studio now is from the deaf and dumb. He can only hear us with the hearing aids. If you look at his ear, you can see the hearing aid. It's the vice president. In fact, anytime we are trying to do election, we spread our positions. We spread our positions. So we cannot say, blind, come and take because you are blind. If any blind man is capable to win, we don't have problem with that because there's no discrimination. All of us are fighting the same cause.
Okay.
So how much government-induced symposiums or conferences do we have basically in Rivers State, you know, to sensitize people and create awareness, seeing that society basically is one of the major barriers for people with, you know, this challenge.
All right, quickly before we get on with that question, let's quickly introduce with us in the studio now the state chairman and vice chairman. They're all live with us now in the studio, and now that I see him, I just remember that yes, we spoke before the elections, at the general elections, and that was what I was trying to recall in the course of the conversation. All right, so quickly with us in the studio at the moment is the chairman of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disability River State Chapter, Kie Obomanu. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
And we also have the vice chairman with us, Mr. Adokie Ibulubo. Welcome, Mr. Adokie. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. So we've been discussing quite a lot, and the document I'm holding in my hand has been the center of the whole conversation. And yes, we know that in a few days' time, to be precise, the 3rd of December would be the World Disability Day, according to the UN. And it's supposed to be a day to create awareness and also to get society to realize that we have certain people who have special abilities living amongst us, and we should also pay attention to them and make them feel among. But then, here in Rivers State, how has the journey been is the major question. There is a law, of course, and I was going through it and I saw that it says that all government institutions, establishment, companies, banks, public utilities shall install facilities and structural devices in their buildings to enhance the mobility of the persons with disabilities. Well, thank God Today FM survived that one. We didn't break that law. It also says that all existing public and private buildings used for public purposes, institutions, establishments, companies, banks, and utilities, such as street, roads, highways, shall, from the commencement of this law, comply with the provisions of subsection 1 of this section within 2 years. It goes on and on and on. It even talks about the welfare council that was set up and monies that should be contributed to that particular council, and on and on. But then, how many of this have been looked into or made a reality is where we are standing at now, Mr. Chairman?
To be very candid, you know, implementation of the law has been a problem to us because if you do not implement the law, as a matter of fact, it's been signed. It was signed under Rotimi Amechi, former governor of Rivers State. You know, if you don't implement, it becomes difficult. How do you get the welfare enhancement scheme? It's impossible. So what we are asking for is the implementation of the law. What does it take? It doesn't take anything. It's just for us to have the commission and so many other things itemized. And then we can get going.
And has there been any move made so far to perhaps get the government of the day to look at this law and pay more attention to it?
Well, we've been trying to engage them, you know, trying to make them realize that this law has to be implemented, you know, in River State. And for now, I would say it's about 40% success.
40%?
Yeah.
Okay, still low, but well, let's just say it's better than not at all.
Trying to get to the mark.
Of 100?
Of 50, I think,
50.
for it to be a pass mark.
Okay, it's still developing on that angle. But I was also trying to confirm before you came in from the state secretary here, talks about the special advisor resigning his position to the governor, and then the relationship and representation that people with disabilities have had in the government. How much level of representation do we have? We were also highlighting issues in the NDDC and employment, and how many people with special abilities have been inculcated into the system. So when you look at that, what moves are you making towards that? How well are we faring in that angle?
Well, first of all, we want to say that the governor has been trying to do a lot for us. But, when you keep asking, he shouldn't stop giving. For the SSA, his resignation, I think initially when he assumed office as the SSA, he almost caused a lot of problem in the community. So talking about his resignation, I don't think it has any effect on our community or our association, because he wasn't doing anything. As a matter of fact, it was just the SSA himself. We never knew what was actually happening. So I think if by the grace of God we have another appointment, I think it will help us to go a long way.
Okay,
so we actually looking forward to having a new person occupying that position.
So perhaps this time you would be more involved in whoever is going to occupy that position.
It should be a teamwork.
Okay.
I'm much more a member of...
yes.
Because he was also telling us that he wasn't a member of the association.
No, he wasn't. It's a matter of fact. And JONAPID, the Joint National Association of Persons Living with Disability, is an umbrella body of all persons. And it's made up of different clusters. We have about 7 clusters: the visual impaired, the hearing impaired, so many other clusters. Even the albinos, they belong to persons with the disability association, So they all came together, and that's why it's called Joint National, all of them coming together to allow just one association to work.
Okay, one association to work. Let's quickly just... Okay, you have a question?
Yeah, I asked him the other time about the clusters, right? We're looking at policies, national policies and all of that for people with physical challenge or any sort of challenge. Now, if they're different clusters, does it mean that they have different policies, or there's a domesticated policy for all clusters?
They don't have different policies. The only thing is, all these other persons from different clusters, they all came together to form the joint. That's why it's called the joint. The joint, we all have the same policy.
Okay.
No different policy. No, nothing different. Because whatever happens to one person, for instance, the inaccessibility of ATMs, it's a problem. Most churches in River State do not have ramps. So it becomes difficult accessing churches.
So what punishes people who do not obey that law is the next question I'm about to ask.
That is the problem. Because the law is not being implemented, how do you punish people? Because even in the judiciary, the lift is not working. Our friends, our colleagues, members of our community who are on wheelchair as lawyers can access court upstairs. So what are we talking about?
Even our members, let's say the deaf and dumb, as you may call them, the hard of hearing, they don't have a need to go to church.
Of course. No deaf interpreters.
Because there is no sign interpreter.
Yes.
So even if they go to church, what do they go there for?
They don't know what is happening.
I know that it was when we met with some officials of IGP, which one of them happened to be a member of RCC, that's a Redeemed Christian Church. I asked him, he asked us of our aims and objective. I asked him, sir, you go to church? He said, yes. As in your church, do you have a signer who can communicate to those who are not hearing? He said, wow.
What about the television stations
to us.
operating here? They don't have sign language interpreters. So if someone who has hearing impairment is watching the TV,
it becomes difficult to understand.
Honestly, you don't know what's going on.
And then he says any person who constructs a building, house, and public institution,
no building code,
establishment, company, bank, or utility after the commencement of this law, it says that they Just to get okay, it says that which is not fitted with facilities and devices that shall enhance the mobility of persons with disabilities commits an offence.
Of course, punishable.
Punishable, and that's where the problem is lying now, because we do not have people who would carry out that
this
punishment,
responsibility,
who would implement that punishment. Okay, let's get back to the phone lines first and just get some more contributions or get some more questions from our listener. Hello, Today95.1 FM.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Yes, you're welcome. Good afternoon.
I agree to Chairman.
Okay.
Is that the key of Bowman of Radio Rivers then?
Yes, of course.
Hello?
Yes.
I greet you. How are you?
Fine.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, our second vice chairman is visually impaired.
Both the first.
Honestly, so what are we saying? They're all involved. There's no discrimination. We're all having our challenges, So everyone is part of the struggle towards having us have a wonderful time in our society.
All right. We lost that call.
Okay, now for people living in rural areas, is there like plans to document, have records and data of people who are, disabled, especially in the rural areas, so that when this is going on, this agitation to help get the government to be involved in the lives of people who do not have these disabilities, rather, will they also be counted in, or there is plans to get them involved as well?
One thing I must say here is that data collection is quite expensive. You can't undertake data collection by yourself. You need some measure of support. Having a data bank requires some involvement of the government, because there are some rural areas that are actually inaccessible.
True.
And if you take a team to these rural areas, you need to house them. You need to keep them so that they can get, the requirements from these persons. So it's not going to be easy. So we've been hammering on this, because without proper data collection, you can't tell how many persons are visually impaired, how many persons are on a wheelchair. You also can't get access to foreign aid, because they need to know
How many persons?
Yes. If you're talking to let me give you an instance of a DPO, that is a disability people's organization like DRAC. You need to talk to them with your statistics. So if you do not have it
becomes difficult.
Honestly.
And wouldn't that be a problem of perhaps institutions that we have? Because you'd expect that in some cases hospitals should have these records, and then there should be a central data bank where you then move these information to, and then at the center we can tell. We haven't conducted a census in a while, so it even becomes more difficult. What am I saying? But hopefully that will be sorted out. Because I remember the last time we were here, you were also complaining about the fact that it was difficult for INEC even to be able to put things together, owing to the fact that they do not have the information that they need to make things happen. All right, hello to the 95.1 FM.
Andrew.
Gift from Yenegoa, you're welcome.
Thank you, my brother. Well, how are you?
I'm fine. Good afternoon.
Yes, afternoon. Good afternoon to my brothers in the studio.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Gift.
Yes, I remember the last time, Andrew, just like what you pointed out earlier, I contributed. Say, even in our families, it all begins from the home. People are treating these physical challenged persons as if they are not part of us, which is bad. And if you don't have a friendly government of the day, that is where you will see how the full society will come against these people. They are talking about my own governor, Governor Wike, trying his possible best. He has not tried anything, as far as I am concerned. In terms of this very aspect, I'm telling you, because an ordinary man that is well-to-do in Bayelsa here, that is the governor-elect today, go to his house. For more than 15 years, he has been taking care of these people without government funds. So if you have the heart of the people as a governor, as a president, not to sign, just like the first person, the secretary, told us earlier, imagine a situation where the person that signed this into law, that the existing law,
did not even implement it. Then you're expecting the rest persons that are coming after him to implement. But I pray that even Governor Wiki, which is my own governor from the one I've been supporting, he should change his mind and look into their matter and take good care of these people. Somebody called him earlier, the first caller, talking about if these guys are always angry going to NDDC. What about the ones that do not have any impediment that is disturbing the society? I don't like those type of contribution. I don't want to be angry. Take care. God bless.
Gift, thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. Sounded really upset with how things are being done.
Maybe it's because of the kind of challenges we face, when these issues are not properly addressed. A lot of people who see us feel really, really bad, because those things that should be in place for us to have equal opportunities in society are not there. For instance, recently, some employment was done in the River State University. By law, we are supposed to have 5%. 5%. We weren't even asking for 5%. We were asking for just 5 chances out of the hundreds. Just 5. But up till today, we met with the vice chancellor, but up till today, nothing has happened. And this is really, really bad.
Sad. I wish we had a lot of time to still talk about this, but time is already fast spent. But quickly, we have about 4 minutes before the news at 3 o'clock. We'll begin to wind down now. Quickly.
Okay. We've not talked about the team for this.
Yeah, we're coming to that. That's what I'm coming to now. The fact that we have the World Disability Day coming on the 3rd of December. If you can quickly just talk to us, Mr. Chairman, the plans that you have in line with the theme and what the word would be to